During a recent rally, Donald Trump decided to, as per usual, go off on a bit of a tangent. But this wasn't like his other tangents. This wasn't just some incomprehensible word salad. He actually made sense to a degree. But what happened was that there was a group of women at his rally that apparently have attended 227 of his rallies over the last 9 years across the country. So it's a group of women who just travel the country like they're following the Grateful Dead, and they go to Trump rallies. Okay, that's weird. That's not normal, but they do it. And during his speech, Donald Trump noticed the women, because again, you don't show up at 227 events with Donald Trump without him finally taking notice of you, and went on both an incredibly sexist and totally bizarre tangent regarding these women. Here's what he said. Somebody said women don't like Donald Trump. I said, I think that's wrong. I think they love me. I love them. And that's when he pointed to the women, this big group that, again, 227 rallies. And he said, they're wealthy as hell. Look at them. They've got nothing but cash. Their husbands are great, but they allow them to go all over the country. He then told a story of how he actually met their husbands one time, and he said, quote, how do you put up with this? Your wives are traveling all over the place. Do you mind? So in Donald Trump's world, these women need permission from their husbands to travel around the country to follow Donald Trump. How do you let this happen? Trump asked their husbands. But the husband said, we trust our wives, sir. We trust them implicitly, Trump said. Yeah, you see, it's not the wives that you need to be worried about. It's Donald Trump. And I'll get more to that in a minute when he actually starts hitting on them. I'll read you that in a second. But yeah, you don't have to worry about the women. It's Donald Trump, right? He is a predator. And we know that from court cases and from the Access Hollywood tape. Like, I wouldn't have a problem, I would trust my wife to be around Donald Trump, but I wouldn't trust Donald Trump to be around my wife. I mean, I'd trust Bill Cosby more to make my wife a drink than I would trust Donald Trump around my wife. That's how bad Trump is. But anyway, as I said, he then started hitting on the women. Trump said, quote, they're always perfectly coiffed, right? They're beautiful. So he's looking at these women that have been to 227 rallies. I don't know if this was the 227th or if it was the 228th, but I don't think it matters. It's still psychotic. But then he's like, they're beautiful. Look how beautifully coiffed they are. Using a word that, of course, nobody's really used since like the 50s or maybe early 60s. But they're beautiful. So he's hitting on these women, which is bad enough. But I want everybody to remember that this was during a speech. He is supposed to be talking about literally anything else on the planet. Just gotta be something related to the election. But instead, he takes time out of his speech to, one, make the sexist comments that these women, you gotta get permission from your husband before you come here. You shouldn't be running around by yourself. You need a big, strong man to save you. And two, God, they're hot. Whoo, boy. See, husbands, that's why it doesn't matter if you trust your wives. It's Trump that you need to be worried about. Because based on what we know from the Access Hollywood tape and the E. Jean Carroll lawsuits, he doesn't wait for a yes or a no. In fact, he doesn't take no for an answer. So he is the guy that you need to be worried about. But what I find hilarious about this whole situation is the way Trump started it, right? Somebody said women don't like Donald Trump. I said, I think that's wrong. I think they love me. I love them. Donald Trump doesn't understand, and he genuinely doesn't. He's mentioned he doesn't get it, but he doesn't know why women across the country do not like him. And from the ones he sees at his rallies, all 227 times, obviously they do like me, so these polls are wrong. Women love me because I love them. But Donald Trump is stuck in a way of thinking that may have worked in, the 30s and 40s, maybe even up to the 50s, where all you got to do to win over these lassies is, just tell them how beautiful they are, and they're going to be like, "Ooh, tee, thank you, you're great." Yeah, society's evolved since then. I mean, it shouldn't have been that way back then either, and I don't think it was to the degree Trump thinks it is. But he thinks all he has to do to appeal to women is tell them that he finds them attractive. And by virtue of that statement, obviously these women will love me. I can win them over with a sly smile and a few compliments here and there. And the reason Donald Trump thinks that is because that's how the women in his life have operated. He's won these women over because he was in a position of power. He had tons of money, more money than anybody would ever know what to do with. So suddenly this rich, wealthy man's telling me I'm beautiful. Well, hey, I like that, right? If that's what these particular women are after, and I think especially with Melania, there's little doubt about why she is still with this guy who she very clearly hates, won't even go on the campaign trail with him. But that's all it took. And Trump thinks that's all it's going to take for him to win over women voters across the United States. He doesn't think that they're disgusted by the Access Hollywood tape. He doesn't think they're disgusted by the E. Jean Carroll trials and all the information that was revealed during that. He thinks he can go out there, make a couple comments about, hey, your hair looks great, your makeup's good, you look beautiful. Boom, now you're a Trump voter. He thinks women are stupid. He thinks they're all superficial, naive idiots because that's what he goes for in his personal life. And I'm sorry to have to go after Donald Trump's wives and ex-wives that way, but let's be real. That's what he's always done in his personal life, but he doesn't quite get why it's not working in his political life. Obviously, ever since Harris came into the race, she has not only closed the gender gap, but she's flipped it. Because when Biden was still the nominee, yes, Donald Trump was winning a majority of women in the United States. But now that it's Harris, after just a month and a half, she is crushing Donald Trump with women voters. And that same group of people is far more likely to say that abortion is the number one issue for them heading into this year's election. And that is an issue that Republicans are absolutely not going to win on. So the Republican Party has a problem with women. Donald Trump cannot stop objectifying women and then acts confused as to why people say women don't like him. You stopped a rally to hit on a group of women. Honestly, that should be in a campaign video for the Democrats. I don't even care which Democrat it is. I don't care what office you're running from. Trump stopping a rally to, one, make sexist comments about women, and two, then hit on them? I don't know about you, but to me, that kind of seems like a big and very creepy deal for Donald Trump. And I would love to see that in some campaign ads starting now. America's Lawyer has launched its own YouTube channel. Now, this channel, of course, is still in its early phases of development, but you can help grow it by subscribing. Just go to youtube.com/TheAmericasLawyer, and you'll get all of the great content from Mike Papantonio and myself that we produce every single week.